Hey everyone, in this video we are going to see how we can automate the page translation process for the multilingual SharePoint site. To give an overview, like in SharePoint you can create sites in multiple languages. So if you go to site settings, then we have the language setting here. So what I did is currently I configured these sites to be in 10 different languages, including like Arabic, French, Russian, Spanish, etc. So this will work for all the other languages you have. So for the demo purpose, I have added this one. And the reason for automating this process is because when you create any pages for the SharePoint, set any languages in your language setting, you do have an option for the translators. So for different languages, you have to specify the person name who is responsible to translate every pages that you create in an English language in those specific languages. So let's say there is one colleague, let's say Alex, who is responsible for translating all the pages I have created in, let's say, Spanish content, right? So I can put his or her name here, right? So whenever I publish any page, it will send out a notification to Alex. Okay, so the pages is being created. Now it's time to translate it. Okay, but in order to have that multiple pages, that's currently a manual process. So let me show you how it's working currently. So this is the dummy purpose page I have created. If you select the translation here, we have the options here. So whenever you create a new page, it won't automatically translate it for you. Although it says the translation, create a translation for all language, it will create a copy of that page, but not in the language. It will be a default for English every pages. You have to manually change the content to a specific language. So what I need to do here is, so as an admin, if I make a page in English language, I need to click on the translation. Then I need to click on the create for all language. Now what will happen behind the scene, it will create a pages for all languages, right? So the translation is completed. As you can see here, we have in Arabic, Chinese, French. So draft a few seconds ago, because whenever the translation pages are completed, it will not automatically publish it because you have to make some changes in that, right? So it will be on draft version. Let me go in the site content, go to site pages. So here, as you can see, I have created what is lorem ipsum page, and these are the code for all the languages. So this is the SharePoint out of the box functionality. We don't have to create any flows to have those pages in a specific language folder. So let me just open the page. Okay, let me just go to the page. This is, I think, a Russian language. If I click on it, it says translate into Russian. Now this I didn't add this. When you translate the pages, it just add that prefix, translate into Russian, Chinese, Japanese, whatever value we have. Then as you can see, the page translate complete, but it's in English language because I told you it will not automatically translate it for you. You have to manually make translation. Now currently the process, if I go to a simple process, so this is the user. It will first create a SharePoint page. Second one, it will edit the content of the page, right? Because whether it's a news, any announcement for any employees, right? So once it did that, it will publish the page. Once user publish the page, they have to click on translation. They have to select any one language, or if they want to select all translation, they can select this one, and then it says translation has been completed. Now only this process, let's say, click on translation and translate out. Can this be automated? Yes. In Power Automate, we don't have direct connector for this, but when I was working on a project, I saw a little hack. So if I go here, so let me just create another page, or let's take a page that is already available in our site pages. So this is not something that will save you a lot of time, but yes, if you are working or your intranet or this site that has the continuous pages creation, like 50 or 100 pages a day, 100 news a day, then this will help you a lot. So let me just pick any page. Okay, let's see who we are. This page. Let me check the translation is done for not. Okay, so currently it's in English only. Now let me open the developers tab, and I have found that API. If I go to the network tab, let me just clear this everything. Let's click on translation. Okay, let's stop everything. Let's stop the network activity, turn back again. Okay, now let's see what happens when I click on create. So when I click on create, it calls an API. As you can see, let me just zoom in. So this is my SharePoint site, and this is the API URL. API site pages in bracket we have the page ID, I guess. So who we are, we have the ID of that page. So this is the SharePoint ID / translation / create. It's a post request. We got the status 200. Okay, that's a response. And let's see what we are passing it in a body, because for the post request you have to pass something in a body parameter. Okay, so it's a JSON only because it says the request. Then we have the languages, and the result is ARSA. I think Arabic, Saudi Arabia, I guess. Okay, then for the language code, in object format we have the result, and then we have to pass the array of string. So if it's a single page, you have to specify the code of that language, but let's understand this now. Then let me just copy this and put it in here. So language code, result, and this one. So this is for the single language. And what happened if we click on this one, create for all languages or create for remaining languages? Let me just pause the network activity, clear everything, start again, create for remaining language. It again calls an API, headers and everything is same. We got the response, that's fine. Let's go to payload, request, and language code. As you can see in a language code, it's currently passing a blank array. So you can think, right? So if there is only one page, right, specific language, you have to pass that language code, but we have to create a pages for all languages. We don't have to pass anything here. So for multiple languages, the array should be blank. So results for the multiple will be blank. Now the one thing, do we need any premium connector in Power Automate to have this? No, because if you see the request URL, it's just a SharePoint site and sending a post request, but we do have the connector in Power Automate, right, to send an HTTP request to SharePoint. We are going to use that one. So currently what I'm going to do, I'm going to create it in a manual flow, because whenever you create any page and when you select an action, say when a page is created or when a file is created in a SharePoint site, so it will instantly trigger that flow. But that's not the case here, because if you see the user flow, it creates a SharePoint page, then they have to edit the content of the page, because when you click on SharePoint, create a SharePoint page, it will trigger Power Automate flow at that moment only. But we have to wait until the content editor, I will say, content editor will update the page content, then set it to publish, anything like that. So here what you can do, like for live purpose, I will say, you can take a choice column, let's say, and in that you can have it choices like the publish status. It will have the not publish and publish. So when every content is created, everything is done, then that content manager select, okay, this page is published, and when that page is published, then only you have to trigger the flow. This process you can do it on Orient, but our focus for this video is mostly on the how to call an API, how to get the URL of the translation pages and use it further. Go back to Power Automate flow. I have just created a manual flow that has the page ID. So I will create a news page, right? So, but this will be automated on your end, and I'm just capturing the page ID. The second thing is, I just need to create an action called send HTTP request to SharePoint. This one, let me mark it favorite. Site address we have to select. The site is a multilingual site. This one method is post, right? API. Let me just copy it from here directly. You don't have to copy everything, you just have to this underscore API and this part only. Page ID, we are going to pass it automatically. So just grab this page ID. So here manual trigger flow, I have taken the page ID. In compose, I am just showing that value. Click on show all here. Now headers, do we need to pass anything? Yes. Let me just check here. We do have the application and content types only. Okay, this way content types taken. Next one, I'll just copy this content type. Then it will have this application.json and it will accept same application/json. Now in the body, so what we need to pass in the request body, let's understand the syntax. We have the object, sorry, not this one. Okay, this one only. We have the object, then we have the request, and then we have the language code, and then we have the result. So the syntax will be a blank object first, then we have a request, then we have another object inside that, and we have language codes, and then I'm assuming this you are implementing on your end for all languages, not specific language, so I'll just pass it as a blank array. Okay, this is it. We just have to do this. Let me just save it. There are lots of action after this one, but just let's test this out. You see the page translation is not okay. I think we just did a translation. Let me just grab another page. We only have an English language, that's fine. The page ID is 3. Let's test it. Manual, test it. It will ask you to sign in. The page ID will be 3. Run this flow. Let's wait for this flow to complete it. So we got the page ID and we got the successful response 200. Now let's see here if we got any languages. Let me refresh it. Now we got the pages created automatically. In a site pages, the find it, okay. Let's check in a French. So we have find it .spfx, sorry, .aspx translated into French. That's fine. So we did translate it into pages for the all languages. Now the second thing is, if you want to perform those actions, right? So what we can do, let's check the output of it. We don't require headers, that's fine. We got the O data, we don't need it. We need only items. So as you can see, once the page is generated, it sends a response back in this array of object format that has this one. Let me copy it. Let's understand what that JSON is. Okay, I think it's visible. Okay, first we have the culture, that is the language, Arabic Saudi Arabia. File status, that is the promoted state, is it published or not. Published version false, last modified. Then path we require. Path, decode URL, site pages, 500.aspx and the title will be translated into Arabic. You can't change it, you can change it later once the translation is completed. This is a part of the API response. You cannot directly manipulate that one. Now let's say we got this right. Now what we need to do, we can capture this items and we can have this array send. So let me just add a compose action. Then we have the body. Okay, we need to make some changes. Then what we can have, apply to each, because in items you are getting the array of objects, so that will be applied to each statement. Let me just copy it from something. So it will be body, create page translation, and inside that we have items. So I got this one here. Let me change this to create page translation. Now inside that, just okay, I will use an array. Initialize variable where page URLs. I will just grab all those URLs, append to array variable where page URL. Then let me just grab this, like we have the item, we have the items, in that we have path, and then in that we have decode URL. So we have item, path, and then decode URL. Just add it. What is this compose? Okay. Now let's say page URLs. Let me just have this array here. Just test it. I don't think we do have any other pages that translation is not created. So let's check for this one. Okay, for this translation is not there. Its ID is 5. So run this flow. So it will create translation. It will create a variable called void page URL. When the translation is complete, it will take all the URL of the page, it will append in an array, and at last we got this output. Let me copy this output, and here we have side pages for Arabic, I don't know what is, French, Russian, Spanish, Japanese, and other. So in this way you can have this process automated. So earlier what I recommended you, because whenever you create a pages, and if you keep it automated flow, you must keep the trigger condition in such a way that it will not trigger as soon as the page has been created, because there is no such trigger in my knowledge. Like up to this point, like we can get the whether the page is published or not. There is a promoted state where you can get the value like 0, 1 and 2, but in some cases I don't know why it's not working on my end. So I will recommend you to have the custom column. So let's say the published data is there. I will just show you like how you can implement that one. Consider this is the page that you have just created, and that's in edit mode. Okay, so if you add a published status custom column that has the value like draft and published, if you go to page detail, that column will appear here. So the content manager must change the status to published, and once that status is published, then you run your Power Automate flow when that certain trigger condition matches. So in this way, you can handle the such load, right? Because when the page is complete, you don't have to trigger the flow automatically until and unless that content manager specifies, okay, from my end, every content is created. Now it is set for translation. In this way, you can have this process automated. So this is something I developed in my recent projects and thought this could help you, because if there are only 1 or 2 pages, that's fine, we can manually create it, but there are pages that is frequently created, so this process will help you a lot. So if you have any questions or any doubts, you can let me know in comments. Thank you.